Hello, everybody. This is Love from Above with your sibling spirit guides. I'm Maureen, and this is my brother.
Hi, everyone. This is Brian.
In this podcast, we share channelings we receive from star beings, ascended masters, and occasionally our ancestors. And this is a follow-up from last week. This is kind of a two-parter. We often get the messages. Actually, we got one yesterday. Rest and proper nutrition is required on this day. So last week we covered rest, and this week we're going to be covering the power of proper nutrition. But before we begin, Brian, I got to enter the confessional. You're
Uh,
not going to believe what I did last week after last week's recording.
what?
So after we spent a whole podcast talking about the importance of setting the stage for a proper night of sleep, the guidance we received compared it to like a long distance runner. Like you just don't go out and run a marathon. You have to warm up the body. And the same is true for sleep. And they gave us a number of different examples. They said, to rest and relax. And one of the biggies was to turn off the phone or put the phone away at least 3 hours before you went to bed. And I played with my phone until midnight and did not get a good night rest. And then I received the message that using the phone at night is starving myself from the nutrition I need from the connection to source. So again, I just want to share with everybody. Hopefully I've learned my lesson. I've whittled down my phone usage to practically nothing. And I definitely learned that lesson. So hopefully I'm glad I got that second message. And that was from my guides, not from any star beings, ascended masters, or our ancestors. So Brian, please absolve me of my
Well, I mean, that's hard. I mean, I don't really do that 3 hours. I know probably like at least an hour before. I try not to be on my phone a lot, but I mean, I'm sure I'm always looking at my phone to see what I've got going on the next day or different things like that. So I mean, um, I'm certainly not capable or I don't adhere to that 3 hour policy. I'm not like spending 3 hours on looking at something on the phone, but it's it's hard to do that. But also because sometimes I like listen to like Spotify sleep meditations, and I've got that sleep mask that you got me. This really nice. Can't think of the name of it, but anyway, did my Maureen got me this beautiful, really plush um, sleep mask with audio in it and it's Bluetooth. And so a lot of times I listen to a meditation when I go to sleep. So I sort of, have to have my phone for that. So
Yeah, and I don't think that that counts because I think
okay.
it's looking at the blue screen. But I will tell you, with not using the phone and really limiting the use of the phone, I am sleeping so much better and deeper. And so there's definitely a power in that. But I wanted to share that message that I got because that was another thing from last week's message. They really said that sleep is like entombing ourselves with the creator. So if we're going to be in this lovely, warm, nurturing place, connecting to source, I certainly don't want to do it to break that connection. And so anyway, let's get on with today's topic, which is the power of nutrition. And Brian, why don't you start us off because you've had a big change in your lifetime, and we had a big message with regards to you and nutrition.
Right. So this goes back to March 4th and the Ashurian brothers. There's so many different groups have come through, but anyway, that they said they would like to invite the brother to join us on a nighttime adventure, and we shall come into and we shall welcome him into our brotherhood. Um, and they said we can do it in 2 or 3 nights. We ask you to conduct ritualistic cleanse, and you abstain from any dairy, any meat, or any caffeine. And so these products, once inside the human form, wreak havoc. They create a wobble in your centropic force and make it difficult for any beings who ingest these additives in a regular form. Or is it added? I don't know. So, but yeah, so we got that message and I did that. And then soon after that, I just did like, pretty much cold turkey. I mean, I was trying to eat, less meat, but I still did eat meat. Um, I did eat dairy, and of course, I had a coffee, at least one cup of coffee every day. So I just pretty much went cold turkey and have been on it ever since. Um, and I mean, I tell you what, I mean, I feel great, and it's been, it's been really transformational for me that um, to make this change, but really getting this guidance from above that that's what I need to do. So I'm really thankful that we got this message and I was able to make that change.
Yeah, and I've received a lot of messages over the years with regards to my diet. And as we've said before on this podcast, it's called Love from Above because the messages we receive are so loving, but they can also be very strict, like a parent. And, so for me, they don't want me to ingest any alcohol, meat products, dairy products, salt, and sugar. Um, and sugar is the last one. Literally, it's been like within the last 2 months or something that I've totally cut sugar out of my life. And for me, someone who's psychic, so I see, hear, feel, and receive knowings, which are just these absolute truths that just come to me. There's no other way to describe it as a knowing, but I really think that keeping the vessel, so, I receive these messages through the body, and keeping the vessel like clean and clear is really imperative for me to be able to do what I do.
Yeah. And I mean, I've known this and I've been a big reader and I think been reading all sorts of health and nutrition books. For example, I remember it's probably like 14 years ago, I read this book called The China Study. It's the biggest health study that proved that a plant-based diet, it involved, is actually forced by the Chinese government, but they really, it was the most comprehensive study that showed that a plant-based diet um, was really the best, and that protein from plant from animal protein causes cancer. And so it's just been sort of difficult for me to make that transition. So when I got this message, I just, jumped in, and I didn't really have effects. I mean, there are a few occasionally, if I don't sleep well, I really miss the coffee is probably the biggest thing I miss, but I don't really miss the meat or the cheese, and I just feel great. So I'm glad that I really got pushed in that direction. But it's good to be on that path, and that I just feel great from a health standpoint.
Yeah, and I wanted to share another message we got, and this was on April 22nd. And it says, we remind you the bodily form is like a well. Should you soil the water, only harm can come to you. And when I think of with regards to that is, I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing, I'm constantly traveling the world nomadically. And so often dealing with different diets and stuff like that. So with some things I might switch around, but I will never, ever, ever eat meat. And like you said, for me, the biggest thing, and I'll ask your opinion about this, but for me, the biggest thing is that I've read is that just as if we have something that passes through our body that causes fear, like it gets stuck within our bodily frame, within our aura, the same is true with animals. And if they feel fear when they're going to be slaughtered, like that fear, that energetic fear is in their flesh, which then you're ingesting. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I've read the same, so it makes sense. And yeah, you just don't want that negative energy as part of your vibe. And that's what they, I was just in a search of nutrition through all our different messages. And yeah, again, it's mentioned so many times, and they say exactly that, like proper nutrition feeds the energetic cycles which fuel the body. So it's, it's the fuel for your body. And if you have clean fuel, you're gonna, just operate a lot cleaner than if you're putting junk in your body. So, um,
Yeah, I did want to bring up one incident too. So as I'm traveling the world, I meet so many different types of people. And when you're in Ireland, everyone you meet is your new best friend because they definitely have the gift of gab and they're so much fun to talk to. But one time I was in Ireland, actually last summer, I was in Ireland and I had this cabbie and he was in his 50s. And he said that he had so many health problems and was really feeling pain and not in good physical shape. And he just intuitively felt like he needed to just eat meat. And so that is his diet. He's literally a carnivore. He only eats meat. And he said it's embarrassing when he goes out to eat because like he doesn't want a salad, he doesn't want the vegetables, he doesn't want the dessert, he only wants, but he said his health has totally turned around. So, I mean, I think of the Dalai Lama who, says, to follow your own intuition with regards to whether you should eat meat or whether, I mean, I think for you and I, we've definitely got these very clear messages with regards to our diets. But I mean, obviously this Irish cabbie, I mean, really cured himself with his pure carnivore diet.
Interesting. Because I was also reading this book by Sadhguru, and it talks about nutrition, and he goes into the body's not, our human body isn't designed to eat meat, and it's really more a herbivore body, and he goes all the sorts of details about that. So, but hey, if it's working for him and he feels better, I guess that goes for anyone as long as you're following your guidance and you feel good, that's all that matters.
I just read that Sadhguru book too. I love Sadhguru. And I remember two things that he said is one is our teeth, the way our teeth are, that they're like something with a grinding or whatever, that they're really built for um chewing on like vegetables
Right,
and
right.
they're not and fruit. They're not built to like chew on meat. And the other thing he said, and I thought of you, Brian, because you said you've had so much energy, more energy with this new diet. And he was saying like that a lion, sleeps like 8 days after they eat. And that to digest that meat really requires like a rest period afterwards. And so I was wondering if that's why you're feeling so much more energy is you don't need that rest period after your body process is working so hard to process the meat.
Right. Well, you can totally feel that. Like if you ever, it's been years since I did this, but like I remember going out with a bunch of guys to a steak place and eating a huge steak and feeling like I had to just couldn't process like a snake. I just ate something big. I just had to lie down for a long time to process. And, that's what he says in the book, it takes typically 2 to 3 days to process meat. So if you cut that out, I mean, everything just is, flowing a lot better. I mean, from a, not to get into that sort of, but yeah, I just feel so much better. Um, and much more regular and all sorts of other benefits. But yeah, I think that is, I mean, you're a lot of your energy is going to digest meat. And when you remove that, you're freeing that up to for other type of activities for your energy. So yeah. And I
So
do say I've read a bunch of other things I will note, like I'm into fitness and weight training and stuff, and I do supplement with like plant-based protein shakes and things like that because I do it's tough to get enough protein with just even with the eggs and other stuff, it's tough to get enough protein. So I do supplement my diet with protein, plant-based protein shakes and things like that. But yeah, I'm feeling great, and so it's interesting. It's great to pass this along to others, and maybe others can benefit from the guidance we received.
we get these messages and they don't specify. A lot of times they'll say this message is for the brother or for Maureen. So I don't know if it's for everybody on the planet as a whole or just for me or for both of us. But I mean, we get these messages at least once a week, probably twice a week. And so, yeah, and I wanted to share one we got yesterday, which is so interesting. So until last year, I never liked sparkling water, just never, ever, ever liked it. And now I could just drink gallons of it. And yesterday we got this message that said, the water which you seek and love is a higher vibration than general water. So more sparkling water for me, Brian.
Yeah, I'll have to add that. I don't really drink a lot of sparkling water, but I will try that definitely.
Yeah, so that was really interesting. But again, sleep and rest, I mean, sleep and nutrition isn't something, it's something that we are required to attend to every day. But I think a lot of people just get in a routine and do what's easier, what you've done in the past, but they're constantly bringing this to the forefront of our attention.
Yeah, I had one other one I was going to share too. They had this quote that it said, "We wish to address the concern of your foodstuffs." And so these nourishments are required, and yet selecting the highest plant vibration is of a difficult nature in the commercialization of our foodstuffs. So we recommend that you return to the basics to ensure the proper nutrition, which is vital for the sustenance of your life force. And then they went on to sort of have a little um, guidance for both of us. For you, they said, Maureen, the recent addition of sugar of any quantity does much harm to your teeth and your physical being. Avoid any amount of sugar would be highly beneficial for your being. And it said for Brian, we suggest a colorful palette of an array of your natural foodstuffs, which will enhance your energetic vitality.
Yeah, and I really have cut the sugar totally out, and I feel so much better without any sugar whatsoever. So yeah, I'm really grateful for their guidance. And that is something that I do think about. Like I really um work to eat natural whole foods. So I always think about like, was this manufactured in a factory? Because to me, if it's manufactured in a factory, then it's got a lower vibration.
Right.
So, and that was interesting about that Sadhguru book too, because I hadn't really thought about that, but because I am eating whole foods, I eat a lot of raw foods. And Sadhguru was talking about the benefits of a raw, having a high portion of raw foods in your diet, which I just naturally do. Even though I'm traveling, I'm always going to the grocery store. That's where I get, most of my food from is from the grocery store. So I can get just whole food.
Yep, exactly. So that's I think we're on the right path, Maureen. What do you think?
I think so. So I think we'll close with, I found this quote that I think has to do with nourishing in a different way. It said, "This is an auspicious time for there are many who have awakened the codes within and are searching for the true light. It is this true light which nourishes every being." So may we all be nourished by the light and by healthy, wholesome food.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think this has been a good one. I think I'm gonna add the higher vibration water to my diet and see how that goes. But no, it's always good to get guidance that benefits your health. So
Yeah, and I'm really grateful to those above who really help us on a daily basis. We're really, really fortunate to get all of this individual guidance for us, and we're happy to share it on with everybody else. So love to everybody.
bye.